to item 4, Arizona Public Safety Broadband Update.
Thank you, committee. Let's see here. All right, we're going to start off with state and local implementation grant program status. This is Arizona's portion of the National Public Safety Broadband effort. FirstNet being required to work with state, local, and tribal jurisdictions to define roles and responsibilities and coverage requirements and so forth. As you remember, Arizona's portion of this is about $3 million, and we have an in-kind contribution matching, and Baron is now handing out forms for you to fill out. You can fill them out and hold them top to bottom and then hand them back over to the other side. We appreciate it. For this effort, NTIA has established 2 touch points. First was within 30 days of the grant, come up with the baseline expenditure plan, which establishes the deliverables at a high level, what we're going to provide during this effort, and also the spending plan at a quarterly level. We completed that. The award was August 16th. We completed the submission by September 16th, and then there were several back and forth meetings with NTIA, our federal program officer, to get everything pinned down and defined both ways. All right, and that has been approved. The next touch point will be when they determine what specific data collection elements that FirstNet wants from the states. Then we'll be able to adjust accordingly. So from our perspective, it's a good thing to do a few, to start the effort, and then we'll be able to tune the education outreach along with the data collection. If we find that we either have too many meetings or not enough meetings, that kind of thing.
You know how far out that might be?
I'm guessing 6 to 9 months from the award date, so probably spring. So our next steps will be to develop the detailed plan, assure that all state, local, and tribal entities, we have established meetings where they can attend, develop the project and schedule an expenditure plan, and then the actual content of the education and outreach. And remembering that most local jurisdictions have not really heard of this and don't know what the impacts are going to be, so we'll be starting. I mean, the SIEC and the PSCC have the benefit of well over a year's worth of input on this, and so we're definitely going to pay attention to starting at square one with these education outreach sessions. One thing that we want to discuss and let you guys know what the impact of the federal government shutdown is on this effort. The FirstNet staff are exempt, and they are working. The NTIA SIEC grant staff are exempt and working, so we've been able to get our next milestone, which was the baseline expenditure plan, done. They don't have any support staff, so it's been a little slow getting things done for NTIA. Also, the NIST grant personnel, so the NTIA approves everything, and then it goes over to NIST for actual funding through the, what's the system? AZPSIC? Correct. Okay. AZPSIC is the grants system. And we're not sure whether we actually have the funds in place yet, but we think we're in the right ballpark because other states have been able to get on. We're waiting for our passwords right now. So we'll find out.
NIST is essentially the fiscal agent for NTIA for this particular grant program. So NTIA is the one providing all the program oversight for the grant. NIST is the one that actually releases the money and says, yes, this is fiscally responsible type of things. And so
we're hoping they got the money into our account before they went on furlough. even though FirstNet staff are exempt and working, the Department of Commerce lawyers are furloughed, and the FirstNet staff can't do anything publicly until the lawyers look at it. And so they've been impacted. SIEC staff are furloughed, databases are unavailable. If anybody has found a way in, let me know. But we have not been successful. So in terms of FirstNet and the BTOP recipients, the STAs are not available and they can't license BTOP recipients, although that process is already in place, and for most of them, Texas and Mississippi are still negotiating for theirs. All right, FirstNet update. The board meeting of September 23rd, the big item on the agenda was the special review committee that was looking into the allegations from Paul Fitzgerald. The committee and lawyers found no illegal activity by board members, and they went through all the emails and all the meetings and so forth. Although there was recognition that there was a perception issue, and they're going to work on that and repair that issue. It's been in the media a lot, but generally I think Paul brought up a valid point, and the FirstNet board is paying attention to it. So I'm just going to leave it at that. The other big item was blanket purchase agreement to 3 professional services firms to hire FirstNet staff. The total amount is $67.2 million. And basically, it's a blanket kind of umbrella, $67 million, that each of the 3 firms, when FirstNet posts a position, each of the 3 firms is going to try and fill it. So whichever, so it's constantly, it's a constant competitive grant situation. So that one of them could actually fill all the positions and get all the 67, in theory. So they set it up that way to keep it competitive, and I think it's a good approach. 2 of the 3 firms have posted FirstNet positions already, and so they're moving ahead with that. All right, the update from the Arizona Public Safety Broadband Work Group. We've reestablished biweekly meetings. We've been reviewing outreach material from other states and from FirstNet. We had a discussion about branding and name recognition and so forth. We have been operating under the Arizona Public Safety Broadband Network, AZPSIC. Some of the literature is starting to talk about, at a state level, Arizona FirstNet or Oregon FirstNet, kind of snappy, kind of quick, and generally the consensus of the group was that's probably the best way to go, especially when we're bringing it to elected officials and so forth, rather than public safety who's been involved in this. We haven't made the decision yet, but we're kind of heading in that direction. We have gotten on the agendas for various regional systems boards, and we're continuing along those lines to bring them into the loop. And then we've been also looking at county kickoff meetings. So if we take this 4th quarter, calendar quarter of this year to get the plan all detailed out and the content developed, then we're targeting like January through June to go through 15 county kickoffs. Now we've combined some that make sense because they've got combined CICPs, let's say, and then also just to shorten the timeline to try and bring more kickoffs in a shorter period of time. We're also working on how we validate. We've actually contacted the agencies during the education outreach, established points of contact for collecting data later on, how we manage and maintain the in-kind contributions rather than have everybody sign this paper form. We're trying to work on an idea that if you've already given us your information, just letting us know you're here is all we need. So we're trying to work through that. And then another thing that's come up is the work group members, there's about 20 of them, have already been handing out our information to their Fire Chiefs Association or various sundry meetings, so we need to track that as well. So like Bob Hollister just shot me an email saying, oh, by the way, I was at some meeting and I handed out your handout. So we need to keep track of that so we know that, yeah, that's another deliverable for this process.
Just on that timeline,
Sure.
Michael, since normally you guys are all up in Flagstaff in July, is there any reason?
That's probably reasonable to go ahead and make that part of the powwow.
Because there's a lot of agencies
Right.
there.
Right.
I want to get to Flagstaff twice in one
Well, that's fine, come on up. We can have overlay in June. Flagstaff as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
We ought to schedule that for August. Okay, some other things that are going on nationally. The APCO Broadband Committee has kick-started their own education and outreach to the APCO members themselves. They're going to establish a feature article on FirstNet and broadband, and also have a regular monthly column. There'll be a new highlighted website. Right now, FirstNet is about 3 levels down in their navigation on their website. And then a regular blog by the APCO Broadband Committee members. And many of the members are people that traditionally write national blogs, like Andy Siebold and a few others. So I think it'll be a good place to go and find out what's going on. We, in Arizona, will be leveraging that for sure for our education outreach efforts. And then NIPSIC just had their executive committee meeting, and they have identified, within the broadband working group, is an overall umbrella that's overseen by Andy Tyson. They've established these items as things that they need to drill down into and develop either standards or best practices or guidelines for. The master statement of requirements was finished last year, around December 2012. The launch requirements were already published as a qualitative, no actual defining of coverage distances and in-building requirements and things like that. They're starting to work on the quantitative and give actual numbers of various and sundry requirements. And then after the launch requirements, they want to establish years 1 through 3 as requirements as well. They want to define what public safety grade really means, and so whether it's battery backup, is 4 hours is too little, but is 12 hours enough, that kind of thing. And basically get into the real detail of how this thing is actually going to work and operate. The last item on there, the radio programming compatibility, has nothing to do with broadband. So I thought I'd talk about it. No. This is an effort that Pam Montanari started about 2 years ago with having, she runs Radio Shop in Florida, and the frustration of having multiple vendors' radios and the pain and agony of programming them with a standard plan. Okay, this vendor does it this way, that vendor does it this way. What this effort tried to do and has done is develop a translator, Excel spreadsheet kind of thing, where you have your plan and then it can translate into 5 different vendors' radios, or all the usual suspects' radios. Okay, and they've tested this out. They still have a couple months more of testing, but I think it's going to be a useful tool for people that have multiple and for a variety of vendors' radios. It will reduce inadvertent mistakes. So basically, it's taken every knob and switch and bell and whistle and cross-referenced each vendor's name for that actual switch and knob, and validated that this means this for this radio and this other naming slot means this, same thing. So, that is out there on the NIPSIC website, which is open, okay? It's not been shut down by the federal shutdown.
They're still testing, but it's available.
They're still testing, yeah, they've got a couple more months to actually pin it down, but they had a major breakthrough, they had a 5-vendor test, and everything looked good, so. That's it. Any questions?
Any questions from the committee? Oh, any questions from Michael? Hearing none. Thank you.